Don't know, Bruv. It's unusual, isn't it? I mean, I've had no problems with it. So, it's recording, Bruv. Go for it. You can just cut that shit out.
Not likely. I'm not doing any cutting. Okay, here we are. This round. I'll give it 1 minute explanation. We're doing first takes because we want the story out there. So anybody who wants to do something similar is good. If you want to do it better, that's also good. Okay, here we go. Chapter 3, episode 12. Sally had a black wig on, some slightly shaded glasses, a business suit and high heels. She looked both professional and unapproachable. No one met her eyes, for they didn't wish to be presuming. Billy had made a key for room 2112, so there was no need for correspondence with anyone at the front desk. The man behind the desk noticed her waiting at the elevator, but hadn't noticed her coming in the front door. He didn't think about it, just noticed she had a nice figure. He might have wondered a few other things about her, like what room was she in, how far out of reach such a woman was, but he was occupied answering the questions of an old woman that hadn't noticed the hotel's host's momentary lapse of attention. Sally was alone on the elevator and was careful not to look for inconspicuous cameras. There might not be any. Germany wasn't as big on cameras as the US Americans were. She met no one in the hall on her way to 2112. The door unlocked with the key card, and she shut the door behind her, took off her shoes, and put her briefcase on the bed and opened it. The name and make of the gun was of no interest to her. She had used the same one before in training. She easily put it together in 38 seconds and went to the balcony door and opened it. She texted Billy, "What up?" He texted back, "Good." She located the window with her scope, being careful to stay inside the room, out of view of any random drones or curious daytime peepers. Shoot the bastard. It was important to take as much time as she needed, but also important not to hang around all day waiting for random trouble. The trouble was, the bugger was sitting across the table from a slightly less notorious company problem. This was a known. Billy had done his research. It was an acceptable collateral damage thing. The other man may not have deserved a bullet in the head. Prison for sure. It was the only way to play it. Shoot them both and get the fuck out. There was no way that Zach Mueller could see Sally without a telephoto lens, but Sally had the feeling that he looked out the window directly at her just before she shot. It didn't make her twitch or hesitate. It just meant she saw him looking at her for a second before his head burst open. The bullet grazed his visitor, ripping a nice cut above his ear. That didn't kill him. He turned around to look out the window before he had time to think about hitting the floor, so Sally had time to shoot him in the face as well. It was an ugly mess, but having them both dead gave her more time. It could be hours before anyone checked to see how long their meeting was to last. Billy saw the shots hit the window, but no one else seemed to. They were all busy getting from some place to some other place, always in a hurry. Billy got up from his bench and went to the nearest garbage can to toss away his can of mild soda water with a hint of orange flavor. Not bad, he thought. It was refundable, so it wouldn't be in the garbage longer than a few minutes before someone took it out and added it to their collection to take to the nearest store that would give a refund and crush it. Not that it mattered. His fingerprints were not registered anywhere, but at the company he worked for. And they knew who he was, and they knew he was there and what he was doing. A few hours later, the police came to question the hotel host at the front desk of the hotel that they had calculated the shot came from. It was not the same host who had been there to see the figure of a woman with a case. When he had finally been contacted about seeing anyone unusual near the end of his shift, all he could remember was the woman. He didn't think a beautiful woman was what the police were looking for. He didn't even remember a case. A briefcase in Frankfurt was as common as a baseball hat on a pickup truck driver's head in Texas. Did he have a hat on? Of course he had a hat on. It might have been black or brown, maybe green. Hard to say. He was fat and had a beard. Not too fat. But then the gun was well wrapped. By then, the gun was well wrapped and stuffed in a box in the mail and on its way to a paper cup factory in Poland. And Sally was back in running shoes, hoodie, track pants, thinking about the other target. He would have to die by knife attack. For some reason, the stab to the heart was the requested method. Billy couldn't figure out if their other Frankfurt hit related to the big money guy, but there was no question that Abdu was in the contract. His address, his place of work, they were all givens. Billy had seen him at both places and was watching his smart device messages. Abdu would have to wait till the next day to die. He was with his wife and 2 daughters for the evening. They had time. No one was looking for them. They were, but they didn't know it. Most high-powered rifle assassins were former military, not young businesswomen. So Sally had a nice run along the river with a bunch of other runners and dog walkers, lovers, can and plastic bottle collectors, pigeons. After she got back and had a shower, Billy declared that he wanted pizza. So they took the walk to Pizzeria's Seven Bello and sat outside even though it was a little cold.